All right. We are live.
Yay!
What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos Cushionada from the channel Frost and Fist, and the other amazing guy in glasses.
What's going on, guys? Freak here. Freakaliciousness. Imperial Fist.
Imperial Fist ish.
Yes, right. After the beating that I got, yeah.
And this other amazing guy on our channel.
Hey guys, Steve here for Took by Dice Miniature Wargaming. How's it going?
Yay!
Steve, my brother. Great to have you on, sir.
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me.
So, what is going on, my brother?
Which brother?
Either of you. Let's do a little hobby catch up. What you guys working on this week?
Go ahead there, Al.
I mean, really, all I'm trying to finish up this commission because now that I'm out of school, and yeah, got to get a good opportunity to be able to knock out this commission. Finally, get the handle
Billions of salamanders.
Yeah, freaking salamanders, man. I'm getting tired of green.
No, I wasn't shushing you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, a little technical oops, but yeah. So I'm thinking a couple more days. I should be pretty close to wrapping up the entire commission. I've got a couple of other looks like some tech priests.
Tech priests.
Yeah, some
Tech priests.
Yeah, he's got some. Oh,
Tech Marines or Tech priests?
Oh, actually, what are these? I don't know. I'm just a painter, man. I don't know. Hold on.
I think you're just seeing Tech priests after the spanking that Adma gave you.
Yeah, hey, that was a tit for tat, wasn't it?
That was a tit for tat.
Oh my God, what is this? These are Tech Marines.
Tech Marines, nice.
Yep. So anyway, he's got a couple of them that I gotta put together. I mean, paint. So I think those will be fun. Be a little different than all the aggressors that I've been working on. So
that commission's been like 12 dreadnoughts, right?
Oh God, yeah, 14 aggressors.
14 aggressors, jeez.
That's why you need all the characters. With 14 dreadnoughts, yeah, you need Tech Marines.
Yeah, it's
so he can keep healing up on the move.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on with me, man. I mean, and then once I get that knocked out, hey, what's going on there, Hellworks? Welcome to the channel, brother. I'm going to work on my stuff, and really, I've got an Imperial Knight that I want to wrap up. I already have most of it put together. I just need to, finish putting it together and painting it. I can't wait because I've got a couple other things in the works that I want to put together as well, like some of my Space Wolf stuff. So
some of your Space Wolf stuff. I'm still not going to get used to hearing you say that.
It is a weird, huh? Marley, go on, crazy dog. Anyway, Steve, what about you, man? What you got working on, bud?
So much stuff.
Doesn't even have to be this week because I know you've had a busy week, my man.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty crazy. I have aggressors to work on because I need to add some Primaris power to my Ultramarines.
Nice.
Squads the same what they used to be. And I got my 10, 15, 17-man Ulthway Strike Force I'm working on. That conversion from High Elves to Ulthway. They're all built and waiting to be primed. Also, some Hobbit characters to work on. So I'm trying to get back into the Middle Earth strategy battle game after being away from it for a long time. I wasn't too happy with the Hobbit so much, but now they're getting back to the good old days of Lord of the Rings and all that. Yeah, I gotta hop back on that. Get me some Hobbits done.
That's pretty awesome. It's funny that you weren't a fan of the Hobbit, but your first Middle Earth army, now that you're back at it, is Hobbits.
Well, I mean, the Hobbit movies were okay. I think they put way too much effort into stretching out a small book into something as epic as Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And up here in Canada, after I can't speak for every place, but where I was, man, the minute though the Lord of the Rings movies ended, the real interest in the game just plummeted, and the way Games Workshop put out the Hobbit models was unfortunate. Lots and lots and lots and lots of fine cast, tons of it. Almost all the characters were fine cast. Most of even the units were fine cast, and it was like 3 guys per blister for regular
fine cast.
Regular soldiers. And they put out the set that came with it had the Thorin and his company and the goblins and all that. But if you try to get them later on, getting all 13 of them all in fine cast, and each blister was like $50 plus.
Jeez.
So it was a definite killer.
Yeah, Thomas at Hellworks says he's fail cast.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, there was a lot. I was working there when Finecast popped up, and there was a lot of returns. Let's just say that, lots and lots of returns and switch outs. That was a rush job.
No,
it was not cool.
Being that you were working for the company at the time, did you feel the need to defend Finecast?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we absolutely no. It was one of those things that we had a really good store, because we obviously want to. You had to hit all the financial goals and all that stuff, but we were the type of guys we if someone wanted to buy an army book or codex, we knew another one was coming out in a month or two. We told people to wait. There's no point in getting someone all pissed off. The same with Finecast. We had to sell it, and I had no problem selling it. But if someone was really looking at character, we were like, just wait a little while till they make another one, because this shipment was not so good.
Mm-hmm. Smart. I was the same way at GameStop as a manager. If I knew, hey, I want to trade this in, there were certain ones where I'd be like, sure, you're going to get some value for that. But there'd be certain ones that'll be like, I'm going to be honest with you, that's brand new out of the package, and you're probably only going to get like $7 for it.
Ooh. EB Games. We don't have GameStop up here. Well, I think we do maybe, but the big one is EB Games. That's, I guess, their division up here, and it's pretty much the same thing. I dread going in there.
That's why it just reinforces why I should hoard and keep everything.
So, Mythos, what are you working on, man? I see you got a brush in your hand.
I do have a brush in my hand, and I have been into some variety this week. So I have been putting together some of the MDF terrain for our table from TT Combat, and that stuff looks pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked with that. I am currently, this is kind of my travel project. I have these, you're not going to see very much of them, but I have these Arjac Shield Brother Terminators, 5 Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators that I have had literally, since the days of formations. I had right after the last Space Wolf Codex came out, and Arjac Shield Brother formation was a thing, and that was Curse of the Wolfen. I'm sorry. So I bought these right when Curse of the Wolfen came out and never got to paint it up. In fact, much to my shame, all through 7th edition, I played them just primed. And then, of course,
shame, they're for shame.
And then, of course, after 8th edition came out, their Terminators, especially Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators, are okay, but they are, I don't know, they're just not as effective as they used to be. And so I very seldom take them into the list. So these have kind of become something, and Terminator models being somewhat hardy, I'm not afraid to chuck them in a plastic container and take them on an airplane with me. So these have been kind of my road project whenever I'm traveling. I'm currently in Baton Rouge, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. I'm traveling for work right now, and I'm in the hotel room right now. And so this is kind of my on the road when I got to take a plane project. Eventually, I'll get these Shield Brothers done. In fact, I don't know. It looks like it may not be long until they're done either. This week, I've also primed up 16 models, 10 of them Fire Warriors and 6 of them Pathfinders. So I've got some Tau models primed, not for myself, for a commission.
I never thought I ever hear you say that.
It's for a commission. In fact, just a project I told I'd paint up for a friend, trying to get one more person back in the hobby.
Yeah.
So he said he doesn't really want to play them gray. It's my job to get them back on the table with some colors. That way he can get back to gaming.
Good deal, man.
And then this week I've also stripped the bejesus, or this was kind of last week, I stripped the bejesus out of my Thunderwolf Cavalry. Oh, man, those were some of my first, not the first, but like my second box of models ever. And of course, it was time to update their paint scheme for sure. But man, it kind of broke my heart a little bit to see them all stripped and, arms missing and stuff like that, base off their bases, literally peeled off the riders by the crotch. So that way I could airbrush them separately. But man, they needed an updated paint job. They really did.
Especially I've done that a number of times, my friend. I can't even count the number of times I've repainted my Ultramarines over the years.
Especially since my brand new Fenrisian Wolves were just like way outclassing them, and they can't. The Thunder Wolves can't, look that shoddy in comparison to regular Fenrisian Wolves. So I stripped them up, and they're going to get the airbrush treatment whenever I get an airbrush in. And that's another piece of my hobby news is I snap the nozzle off of my airbrush. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Talk about a rageful gamer. I was so pissed off. Snap nozzle right off. So what happened is I had a little bit of a clogging issue, so I put it in the drink for a couple of days. A little bit of mean green. And started working the needle back and forth through the nozzle, getting some of that gunk out. Everything was going smooth sailing until my hands were still kind of wet, and I was working the needle through the tip of the nozzle, and boop, the whole airbrush slipped out of my hand and landed perfectly on the nozzle, snapping it off and sending the tip of the nozzle through the garbage disposal.
Yeah, well, somebody in the chat just confirmed that, Mythos. Yeah, Lily Nightfall says the salt was real.
Hey, babe. How you doing?
Oh, that hurts.
This is Jedi Jim 252. What's going on, bud? Says, if I tried to repaint something, the moan from all of my unpainted minis would be too terrible to experience.
Is that the sound keeping me up at night?
That's what it is. Haunting. Oh my God, I'm unpainted.
It's a shame we all bear, I think. I don't know how many models I've unpainted. That doesn't stop. It's our curse.
Yeah, Jim, good to see you, brother.
Yeah. So let's, you guys want to talk about our topic here?
Absolutely.
Sure. So here's the thing, right? Mythos and I were chatting, we were talking. As a matter of fact, we had a recent game last week at Mythos' house, which was really a lot of fun. We played in a little small area, and it was small enough to where it was just, we're basically on top of each other. Giggity.
So, okay, there was still the 2 feet separating us like a normal board. It was a little coffee table, though. If y'all have seen my battle report with Hunter, it's that small coffee table.
Yeah.
But we set up on the very edges of the board, so that way we would still have that 24-inch separation between my line and his line. Yeah, it still wasn't enough. Not for him. I mean, not for him. Not as in he was being bougie about it or anything. But no, it's just my models were on top of him.
So okay, so here we are. Let's go on the table, and I mean, I'm there to enjoy the game, right? And all of a sudden, and this is for the first time, I don't know in how many games we've ever played together. That right? So Mythos, won the roll off, right? He got to go first.
Oh my God, I think it's been at least a year since I've won a roll off. Well, yeah. I've won roll offs, but you always manage to seize.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, okay, what's the change? Well, of course, I did not capitalize at Mythos' home front. Heck no. I
Home field advantage, baby.
Yep, yeah, home field advantage from the homie. But hey, so I did not. Matter of fact, I rolled a 1. I did not roll well. Anyway, so next thing you know, Mythos starts moving his models. And okay, we're talking about table about that big, right? He goes, okay, I move. Was that a move or was it a charge?
So I took an Armiger Warglaive, which moves 14 inches.
Did you freaking skip a phase? What? Wait.
And then I also used my Styges 8 stratagem that lets me scout move 9 inches up. So I scout move up my 20 Electro Freeze, a whole mob, 20 Electro Freeze.
It was just ants.
And then my Sidonian Dragoons that also move like 12 or something like that.
So now, alrighty, I'm feeling a little nervous. I'm like, this is gonna be fun, right? And I just kind of glanced aside, and there's Lily with the kids and the dog out on the side. I'm like, I think I'd rather be sitting there with them. So then came the shooting. And the fighting, and then my screaming in my head.
Although it actually didn't go as bad as it probably could have, because you were making some pretty boss rolls.
I was, but I mean, again, man, it wasn't a complete loss. It was weird. It wasn't like my typical rolls where it's like ones. Wow, what the heck? Might as well happen ones, you know. It wasn't that, but it was one of those butt clenching moments where you're like, ones, oh, there we go, more models dying.
Turn 1, he strips my Armiger Warglaive down to its second profile on my own turn.
Not expect that at all.
That was a pretty boss roll.
Was not expecting it. And here's the thing, I was really expecting all right, so just to kind of set it for you, Steve. So he brought that Armiger, I mean, right there. That sucker was like right there in front of my Land Raider, right? And I had some Terminators in that Land Raider, and what else? Oh, so he brings that Joker right up and starts wailing on my Land Raider. Well,
as he should.
Yeah, of course, as he should. I get it, but I mean, I think he did that on the first turn. It's like, here I am. I'm here to beat your face in. What?
That's 8th, buddy. That's 8th.
Yeah. Well, then suddenly I said, okay, I think it'll be a good time to go ahead and deploy my my Termies, because if this thing blows, I don't want them anywhere near it. So you know, finally my turn comes up. I pull those Termies out. Man, we just started having a slugfest. Let's just say I built a little volcano in my seat. That's how crazy that game was. It was tit for tat, man. We were just slugfesting it back and forth. And see, for the first time, going back to the topic of this, for the first time, I actually felt salty. I was like,
I wouldn't say the first time.
What?
Maybe the saltiest time.
Shut up, man.
I would say the
Let's
first
be honest.
time.
Let's be honest.
Shut up, man. So for in a while, right? So I'm staring, okay, because I'm watching all my models getting ambushed and slapped around and slapped and trashed, and I'm like, and the first thing I'm like, this is some crap, you know. First one gets to turn, you know, gets to wipe out the other guy. Oh, I might as well just give him my models here, man. Here's my butt, you know, my container with all my models. Just take it here. Just go on, man. Yeah, have fun. I'm gonna go in the backyard and eat dirt. I just felt like really defeated already in the first turn, because I was watching so many of my guys getting butchered. But you know, then all of a sudden, just like Misa was saying, luck just started turning around, and I'm realizing this is not a typical game. Doesn't seem like a typical game. Well, in the long run, it never was. This was the most brutal, god-awful, crazy, sadistic game he and I has ever played. And we played, well, we made a lot of mistakes, but we went after each other's throats, man.
That sounds like it was fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Those are the best games.
The game,
the ones where you clash and you got like 2 models left on the table at the end. Those are the games you remember.
The end of the game, I had my Doomcrawler and 2 priests shooting at his Dreadnought, and that was it. That's all there was. Yep. And we're just exchanging shots back and forth.
Those are the best. I've had games where it's literally like one of my guys and 2 of theirs, and that's the end.
But see, typically when things like that happen, it's usually, the other way around, the other side that gets a little salty, and I'm sitting there like, well, it'll be okay, man. It's not that big of a deal. We're good. We're just having fun. And I was feeling the heat, or like, yeah, I'm getting my butt tore up here, man. I need to what? And it didn't help that, here I'm paying for stratagems, and at the very beginning, I failed to use 2 of them. Like, and right when I realized, God, freaking should have. Oh man, dude, I was about to lose my mind. Appreciate that, Running Bear. Running Bear says, hi all, welcome to the Route Fist. Thanks, my man. It's gonna be a heck of a journey, but yeah, man, it was definitely butt clencher. I was not happy, Steve. I was not feeling it. But when we started seeing a lot more of each other's models get taken off the table, we were looking at each other like, where is this gonna go? Mythos, how far did we go?
Turn 7.
Wow.
That's never happened.
Wow.
Never.
All 7 turns.
We've never played. I mean, we've hardly been able to play past 5 turns, let alone 2 or 3, because we're either getting picked out of the game store, So it was just epic. It was just unbelievable. So,
we probably wouldn't get kicked out of the game store so often if you learned to keep your pants on. Jeez.
Well,
and that's stuff that I didn't need to know. I'm a visual person. I don't need that in my head.
Well, it's not going to be on your head. Welcome to the Frozen Fist.
So, Freak, what made you feel so salty about that?
Right. So, a couple of things. Number one, I felt because, such a small area, first turn means, major advantage to decimate the opponent. Had you rolled, or had I not made those saves, it would be a totally different game altogether. I'm just surprised that I was able to actually make those saves against that Warbler. Was not expecting turnaround like that, and that's how crazy it was. So, and also another thing too is like we both actually took a different approach to our game that night. I typically take my Terminators and Lysander, and I would teleport strike them because hey, why not? They can do it, and I've been doing it, and I love that idea. Well, I decided to just try something different. I wanted Lysander with a Librarian, and then I want the Terminators in the tank, and that was the best decision I've ever made. Because when those Terminators finally deployed, Steve, it was on, man. It was the best thing that could ever happen because they came out and was like, hey man, you hit my ride? What's up? And they came out swinging.
Y'all should have seen the look on my face after all those Terminators hit. And I'm sitting there, and I remember that the Ion Shield is a 5-up invul save to ranged attacks. I'm sitting there looking through the codex to see what my invul save is in Malay. And it took me a second.
0.
Yeah. It took me a second to realize that that's just going to be just like the big knights. You get them in close combat. They're paper. Well, not paper, but
yeah.
They got no save. And so I'm sitting there flipping, and I'm flipping, and I'm scrolling, and I'm flipping, and I'm scrolling.
And I'm rolling. I'm like, okay, and I'm using, what was it? Ultra drill. Boom, got some sixes. Roll again.
Yep. And then when we told me the number of power fist saves I was about to make with no invul, I was just like, well.
You don't get saves. What's the arbor save of Electro Priest?
Say what?
What is the save of Electro Priest? A 5+?
It's a 5. Well, they get plenty of invul saves. 5 up at first, and then if you kill something in combat, it goes to a 3-ups. And that was kind of my strategy. So my first turn, I used the Stygies 8 stratagem, and I roll right up to his door. And first thing I do is charge and kill his Psyker with mortal wounds, his librarian.
Oh, lovely.
That did a couple of things for me. It gave me a kill that stopped him from being able to buff Lysander, but then also it allowed me to change my 5-up invul to a 3-up invul. Charge up their electro field.
Yeah, see, my goal was to take the librarian and buff Lysander with Might of Heroes, right? And yeah, he stopped that cold, man. I was like, dang, that was actually a pretty smart thing to do. And then he went after Lysander, kill Lysander.
Oh, no, Lysander came and charged me. Lysander invited me to the party.
I don't
Lysander
know.
forgot
that way. I think we have a difference of opinion. That's what I'm saying.
Lysander forgot that we do mortal wounds and this storm shield ain't gonna work.
Holy crap, you ain't lying. And there was a lot of mortal wounds. Oh, hey Mythos, just I like Running Bear because it sounds to me like he's kind of starting some stuff. He says what makes me salty is gun lines and them taking away turn 1 deep strike.
I'm the same way. I am the same way. In fact, let's go on to what makes me salty.
There you go.
And that is the mother trucking Tau and their gun lines and my ability not to deep strike them and their ability to just back out of combat and Overwatch with 17 billion high AP guns. Yeah, let's talk about that. That's what and let's take that even a step further. Okay, not just the Tau, but okay, Tau. Yes. All of the Tau. In fact, if I had to pick a part of the Tau that made me salty, I would just point to all of it. Just Tau.
What, you don't like Overwatch with Overwatch?
And a side of Overwatch, and I'd like that Overwatch size. Yes. The Tau definitely make me salty. But let me break that down to what makes me salty about the Tau. And because I have gotten a little salty playing against the Tau in my store, I have developed a reputation of Mythos don't like to lose. And it's not even that. It's not that Mythos doesn't like to lose. Mythos doesn't like feeling helpless. And I don't mind, like in that game where Freak and I was just describing, where we beat the hell out of each other and it was back and forth, good game. If I lose that game, I don't mind because that was an honorable exchange, right? What I can't stand is the impotent dick punching feeling. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying that on it. I
believe what you mean to say is
where it takes. I've literally had games against Tau where it's taken longer for me to put my models on the table and set them up in deployment than actually play the game. That's how impotent it was.
I don't see where you're getting salty on this. I don't see it.
This is Red Sea salt right here, man.
I basically didn't show up to a 2-player game. What I showed up to was the front row, basically, to watch this person masturbate on my models. That's what I felt like.
Whoa, sir, whoa. All right. Okay, so I see your saltiness there. That I think.
Sorry, I have very strong feelings on this matter.
I think what we need to do is, one, psychoanalyze why you're adding manhood to losing games. I'm going to put that out there. Damn, dude, you're salty. I know that feeling very well. I haven't had the I don't the Tau don't bother me. I know to whip some Tau, but the one that gets me salty is Necrons. And
that's freaks too.
This is a long simmering salt. This is third ed salt. When they were a smaller army, less units, they had this thing called the wheel, the cheese wheel. All right, and I hated this, and every single Necron player did it. You took a Necron Lord with a Resorb. He was the center of the wheel of cheese. All right, these little bastards with that stupid little Resorb. I hate them. And then they're built around
Shout out to Edic Beer, King of the Necrons, by the way.
Pardon me?
I said shout out to Edic Beer, King of the Necrons, by the way.
Yeah, Necrons. No. But and then they would just take like 2 big units of warriors, Necron warriors, and just slam them around it. Now back in third ed, you could pretty much will be back is what they called it back then for pretty much anything, as long as it wasn't double the strength. Their strength wasn't double your toughness, and it wasn't something that automatically ignored armor saves. So without a Resorb, you hit him with like things like las cannons and power weapons, and Necron started dropping. Take that Resorb, and you ignore that. Oh. So you could hit this thing with whatever you wanted: las cannons, Terminators, whatever, giant Tyranid bioconstructs, whatever, and you'd see a bunch of Necrons fall, and little bastards get right back up. You might knock out 1 or 2. Didn't matter because there was another 38 surrounding you that just kept going. Yeah, those are the games where I got a bit salty. I was an angry individual.
Why? It's like it's just like me fighting Mythos, and I'm knocking down a couple of wounds off of, let's say, his Doomcrawler and his Castle Robots, and all of a sudden, he's picking up the dice. I'm thinking, what is he doing? Oh God, what is he doing? He goes, okay, so Doomcrawler gets another 3-point heal. The robots are back up full health. All right.
Yep. No, and there was that living metal crap on their monoliths. Like, oh, you have a multi-melta? I don't care. It doesn't do all the special rules it does. You're like, oh. And then just more Necron words would spew out of it, and you're just halfway through the game and like, why am I doing this to myself?
Right.
I lament myself today. I'm stupid, and yeah, you doubted yourself. You went home. You cried in the shower for a while, and then ate a quart of ice cream and watched a chick flick, and you're okay.
Did he watch my shower after I played against the Tau? Because that's exactly what happens. No, seriously, I almost never play a pickup game if the other person is playing Tau. Not because I'm afraid of losing, but because I know I'm going to turn into that salty person I don't want to be.
You going to Hulk out on him, are you? Necron's so salty. So much salt. My sodium intake fighting him goes way up. It's not good for me. Bad for my health.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I've never thought that I'd get so ticked off because of I feel like, wow, my models are getting taken advantage of right now.
Oh, yeah,
we are now being molested.
Did you happen to see Thomas's reply? Why does it sound like Mythos rolled up on Freak's tank like a Jehovah's Witnesses and found a Crips crack house?
That's exactly right. I would like to talk.
Do you care to talk about our Lord and Savior, the Messiah? We got bitches at the door. Get the guns.
Why are you my doorstep, punk?
Oh man, man! I've been I've been through enough editions of this game. I've gotten salty a whole bunch of different times at different things. Every edition's had that one army or that one unit. At one point, it was God, I think it was in 5th. It was the Khornate Chaos Champion that could fly and had the Khorne axe. He had like 10 attacks with a power weapon, and yeah, like the guy would zoom around and just slaughter everything. That got you a bit salty after he's chewed through your 3rd unit and you barely damaged all his models because everything else is sitting in cover.
Yeah.
God, I hate those things.
So let me ask you something, Steve. Since you've got a lot of experience, have you ever played with somebody that just thought he knew the rules enough, but not enough to not realize that he wasn't cheating?
A few times, yeah. I've been up against a few. We call them rules lawyers here. Guys that would take one stance on the rule, and that was it. It was the only way the rule could ever be interpreted. Now I'm speaking a weird language.
I like interpreted.
Every time I did. Every time you did something, it was a conflict. No, that's not how that works. No, that's not how that works. That's not the way the rule is. And it takes what could have been enjoyable time and turns into a willful struggle not to backhand him from across the table.
Yeah, I don't like rules lawyers in general. Like whether it's D&D, you've got certain rules lawyers, but and then in Warhammer, because it's player versus player now, it's even worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I had to. There were times where I witnessed other people getting salty when I worked at Games Workshop. You kind of had to step in sometimes and literally lay down whatever law you could, being a red shirt at the time, and say, no, this is the way the rule is, or you got them to roll off, dice off, whatever. But yeah, rule lawyers and guys that couldn't accept that they lost. That's the other thing that makes me salty.
How are you still alive if you spent all those years as a red shirt?
3+ armor save.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I'm a Space Marine fan from forever ago, so I can take wounds that would kill a normal man. Okay.
That's true. No matter how often the red shirts got killed, the members of the other prize still kept walking around in cloth armor.
I'm like Scotty, okay? I'm the only red shirt that never died. All right.
Yeah, true.
So I remember playing a staff challenge against a kid, and it was like 45 minutes, 500 points, closest to the center objective 1. It was supposed to be a fun thing. And this kid, he brought in probably the cheesiest army he could under 500 points. It was Chaos. He had a Demon Prince. He had Defiler. Gross stuff. I ended up winning at the end because I had a unit closest to the objective. And I reached across to say, good game, shake his hand. And instead of being a good sport and shaking my hand and moving on with his life, he decided that the best thing to do was to sit there, cross his arms, and say, I should have won because I killed more models.
Oh,
I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, well, dude, there was an objective, right? Just keep your mind on the objective. And he's also mad because I killed his Demon Prince and pretty much ignored his Defiler because he was missing all the time. So it was 45 minutes. I wasn't too worried. He's like, I should have won. And I was kind of getting, and I was in my red shirt, so I had to keep it down and stay calm, be professional. And then he turns around, he goes, you cheated. Yeah.
What?
And that was like, seriously, dude, I won because I kept to the objective. That's always, whenever I play a game, I play for the objectives, right? If I lose more models but I still win, I won, right? But yeah, that got me. I think that's the saltiest I've ever been. I was pissed off because I played really well. I thought it was a good game. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see this guy flip it out on me like that. And one of my other colleagues asked him, okay, dude, just leave now. Because he said his last, because you cheated. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
I'm so angry now. And yeah.
I gotta agree with Thomas at Hellworks. Yeah, I would have got kicked out too. I don't think I've been they're very nice to know.
No, it was not fun.
Yeah.
It took a nice experience and ruined it, and it was not fun.
Yeah, you know what? And that's another thing. The whole purpose of getting together, right, and playing this game is because it's community. It builds community. It builds these friendships. And as a matter of fact, it's two people that may have not known each other ever, and they come together and they have something that is, very relatable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an opportunity to get to know that person, and you get to enjoy a good competition game. Well,
that fellowship right there is my favorite part of the hobby. In fact, I'm here in Baton Rouge, hours away from my home, and on my way home from work tonight, I stopped by a local hobby shop that's like a mile and a half away from my hotel, and not knowing anybody in the store, I walked in and made 3 or 4 friends. Like I just watched the game. By the way, I'm a little jealous because the game store here is nicer than most of the ones we have back home. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. They have this really neat idea. Shout out to Little Wars Game Shop, by the way, if you're ever in Baton Rouge. And it's really cool. They have these. They have this cafeteria, like fast food style trash can as their trash can, but on top, just like a fast food restaurant, they've got the trays that you use to carry your order back and forth. So that way, people can carry their models to the game tables, all set up.
It's cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
I was like, that's such a simple but neat idea.
That's somebody who's catering to the community. That's really well done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, just that sense of community. I walked in, I saw these guys were setting up for a game. I was like, oh man, your Eldar army looks awesome. And just immediately, like, we were talking about Warhammer for about 30 minutes before we decided to offer each other's names and stuff like that. Just because we got engrossed in these Eldar are about to get their butts kicked by my orcs over here. And he's like, they probably are. I didn't prepare for a horde army, and we just got to talking about the games and the models and stuff like that. It was pretty neat.
Cool, man. That's what I love about the local gaming stores, that you can just bump into random strangers and walk away with new friends and companions in your hobby journey. It's great. I wish I had a store where I live. We had one years ago, but it died a quick, painful death.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get more stores around like that, because they actually build the community, man.
Yeah, the community is so important to the survival of anything. And I've in the years I've been doing this, I've seen really amazing stuff. I've seen really, really bad stuff. Yeah. But yeah, the community is super important. Without it, none of this exists. So
speaking of community, you guys are probably the most, especially you, Steve, and I know Miklos, you've been doing some research. What is in the news? What's the latest and greatest? What is happening out there?
Before we move on to the news, I want to ask some of these amazing people in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Besides, Running Bear already said gun lines, and I have to agree with him on that. But what makes you guys salty in the chat? So anything hobby related, that doesn't have to be in game. I know Nick from Old Average Brit Gaming. I was looking back at one of his older Q&As. He said his least favorite part of the hobby is dealing with mold lines. Mold lines make him kind of salty.
You have the right tool then. Come on, mold lines are easy.
You know what?
It's like step number 1.
Come on,
on another
don't act like
team.
Don't act like you're not normal, Steve. You know that every time you get a model near completion, you find 1 or 2 mold lines you thought you had gotten.
Maybe years ago. Now I'm very careful. It's part of the process. It's like the first tender kiss with the new lover, and just caressing the mold lines off. And yeah, that one's good. Just going on. I always take care to find the mold lines.
Not weird at all.
I'm not sure. I must not be caressing my models enough.
It's an experience thing, guys. It's experience thing. You'll get there. You'll get there. It's all good. But the stuff in the news.
Yeah,
It's like, I hit up the dirt sheets all the time, see what rumors are going on.
I know there's one thing in the news that's making a lot of people salty in the community right now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Primaris upgrade to Marnie's Calgar?
I love it. You kidding me? For all the Marine players out there, guys, Primaris, and it took me a while to deal with this. I had to have a moment, sit down, throw a little, love music on and just I will remember. No, and cry through it. Primaris is the new hotness. It's what's going to take over. They'll probably never get rid of Marines in the books. You probably won't see any new mini Marine, as they call them now, units, but they'll never disappear. But Primaris is it. So Primaris Marnie's Calgar makes sense. Those new Honor Guard guys or whatever they are, the Primaris is the new hotness. It makes sense. Games Workshop wants to move on, so they're going to they want to create new models, add some vitality to that range again.
We'll know for sure in the next year if this is really going to be a full-fledged Primaris takeover. If we start to see things that like Primaris bikes and stuff like that.
Well, that's the rumor that they're supposed to be getting a new assault unit, some sort of one-man unit like bikes. Apparently, again, this is all rumors, so take it with a ton of salt. But apparently, there's going to be a mid-range transport, like some sort of hover rhino thing for the standard Primaris units, I guess. Right. So apparently, some other tank, a heavy tank, not like the Repulsor, but even more so.
I don't know how I feel having a total. It's not like it's almost like a totally different army taking over the classic Space Marine army. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I mean, it's just,
it makes sense, but after what they did with Fantasy turning Age of Sigmar, I mean they crushed everything and said here's your new good guys, your Stormcast Eternals, right? So I mean I wasn't surprised when 8th came out and they're like new Marines. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense from a model standpoint. It's Marines have been around since the beginning, and for 30 plus years it's been Space Marines. Yeah. Standard tactical Marine, even if the guy armed with a bolter, bolt pistol, and grenades, right? He's been around forever. Obviously, they in order to sort of up the ante when it comes to making 8th a bit more serious. I mean, they've been talking about the end times since second ed, and so I guess when they wanted to up the ante, they had to up the Marines, make them. Make a threat so huge that standard Marines just weren't enough anymore. You had to have these newer, tougher, taller, stronger, faster Marines.
Yeah. Real quick, just to kind of catching up on some of the chats, and I also wanted to give a shout out to Rajan Kumar. Thanks for the subscription, buddy. Hope you stick around and enjoy the show. We try to get as much content as we can, but again, thank you for the subscribing. What's his name? Running Bear. I think it was Running Bear. Oh no, it was Jedi Jim. Said opening a $3 bottle of paint to find out a lump of color. DW paint.
Yeah, that irritate me.
Oh,
that is.
Been there, done that. That hurts.
Definitely worthy.
Running Bear, my wolf brother. He says as a Space Wolf player, losing the Lehman Russ tank in our codex, he's still not gotten over that. He's still salty.
Yeah, he's got.
I love that third ed, man. They were the only Marine army that got a different tank, and it was something cool.
That's awesome.
Lehman Russ. It's named after their Primarch, and then all of a sudden they lost it, and I was not happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Running Bear, in regards to your story, Steve, he says that kid would have gotten my boot in his arse.
Trust me, I wanted to in such a bad way, but I was wearing my staff shirt. I had my name tag on it. I couldn't have done it without, losing my job and getting ejected from the mall I was working in.
Yeah, they say when you commit a crime, you probably shouldn't be wearing a name tag.
Yeah. I after that, I kind of went into the back room and and sat down.
Running Bear. So talking about the Eldar match I was watching earlier, said so is Eldar were on fire. The only way I can say good things about the Eldar is burn them down. People have strong feelings about the space elves.
A lot of love for Eldar. That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Eldar are sneaky, cheaty bastards.
Don't hold back.
Also, Running Bear says power gamers that take power lists to local games tournaments. We saw that's why I don't really play tournaments anymore, is because so many people bring these power lists.
And they're all the same. Every list is the same. That's the one thing I hate most about this internet thing. Ever since list after list, it doesn't matter if it was Death Stars, the leaf blower list, the stuff we have now, it's all the same. Creativity's gone out the window. No one builds good lists anymore.
The worst one I was ever in was I played against a Necron list at a tournament, which was fine. And then I played in the same day a Riptide Wing and two of that Skitarii Knight list that used to be super powerful called the War Conclave.
Yeah, the
War Convocation.
Yeah, I hated those.
Oh, man. And so you had the I played against two War Convocations, a Riptide Wing, and a Necron list. That I just came home from that day salty, like, I don't think I'm ever playing in tournaments again.
Yeah, that would ruin it for me.
Yeah, I remember the leaf blower lists of 5th and 6th. It was you saw the same thing. It was the exact same list. I can't remember what it was right now. It varied depending in the army, but it was one of those first or second turn kill lists that just wiped you off the board.
Exactly. That's how it was with the War Convocation list. It was like first, second turn kills, and they were almost verbatim the exact same lists.
Oh,
like,
I mean,
look obvious that they printed them online.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Knight Guard Blood Angel spam we saw there. Whole bunch of guard to farm command points that they would then trade off to Knights and Slam Captains. And it's the exact same list. There might be some small changes in the weaponry the guard have, but that's inconsequential stuff. It was the same bloody list. That gets me salty. Now I'm salty right now. Guys are getting me salty right now.
All right. Well, let's go back on to what we were talking about. Primaris, Way of the Future. That new Marnie's Calgar looks amazing.
Yeah. I love the way they got him painted. His new, I guess he's got the Gravis armor. Or Gravis. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Gravis. That's the way the audiobooks say it.
Yeah. It's all shiny and new. If you look at the way they paint his gauntlets, they're chipped. They're scuffed up. So they've just taken his gauntlets off his old armor and slammed out the new stuff. So that's nice to see. So it's a nice little detail, right?
Because the tech priest couldn't be bothered to buff him. Jesus.
Well, the whole thing behind them is
I'm just playing.
They can't even get into him, right? They just kind of throw it on and yeah. And I like those. I don't know if they're honor guard or not. They look like it. I'm kind of hoping
it's pretty awesome.
Oh, they look fantastic. I'm just wondering if it's another throwback to the Legion days, or they had squads of the Ultramarines had squads of these guys that had power axes and I guess breacher shields or storm shields. I can't remember right now. I haven't seen a list in a while. But yeah, the a whole thwack of them. It was cool. It's cool to see that stuff coming back, if that is indeed happening.
Speaking of the Ultramarines, and I know they're not, it's funny because they're the poster boards, but they seem like they get the most hate. And I have to admit, I shared a little bit of the jealousy with them because I've been waiting for my Primarch to come back. And, so I have had a little bit of the jealousy going on. Huh?
We're back on assault, are we?
No, I'm not being salty right now. I'm back in the love, actually.
He's being salty.
So I recently finished the Horus Heresy book, No Fear. And, Ultramarines is where I started with books years before I started playing. I read the Uriel Ventris trilogy, Ultramarines Omnibus. And that really, I enjoyed Ultramarines then, not as much as, when I read the second book and he had to join the Death Watch, and they met a Space Wolf in the Death Watch, and I was like, oh, I want to be that Space Wolf. Okay, so obviously I have a little bit more of a love for the wolves, but still, I really enjoyed those books. And I have to say, even more than that, those books, I really enjoyed Know No Fear. That was really great insight to, the Ultramarines and seeing them at their worst, when they're first betrayed by the word bearers. I've seen the box set for Betrayal at Calth before, but I kept wondering, I was like 19 books into the Horus Heresy. I'm like, when are we going to actually see that battle of Betrayal at Calth? And to actually finally get there, that was pretty awesome.
It was a good book. It was a really good book. Yeah. Now, the reason they get so much hate is because they've been the poster boys forever. I mean, not forever. Second edition, the Codex was just called Codex Ultramarines, and you had a little dabbling of the other chapters in there, but it was all Ultramarines, and it just kind of went from there. Although thinking here, the second edition box set was Blood Angels and Orcs. The third ed was Black Templar and Dark Eldar. Fourth was Ultramarines and Nids, I think. Then fifth was Ultramarines and Orcs. Sixth and seventh was the Dark Vengeance there, the Dark Angels and the Crimson Slaughter. And now I guess, we're back to Ultramarines again. So they do tend to get a lot of love. Well, from the company anyways.
And let's not forget, they were center stage for Gathering Storm.
Yes and no. They were really only prominent in the third book. The first two were it was Black Templars and in the first book for any Marines. And
okay, only in the third book, but when you look at history in the making, having a Primarch come back is like definitely center stage of the entire event there.
I guess so, yeah. There were some really good points in that book. Wow. The battles and all that. Some pretty poignant stuff in there.
Cadia still stands.
Kind of. There's a little bit standing over there. There's a little bit standing over there. There's some standing over there.
Speaking of things that make people salty, I think if there are any guard players who listen to us, man, Salt Shakers just opened up. Salt Shakers just opened up for them just now.
No, that was. I remember the first time they did the 13th Black Crusade. They had a special codex just for it. It was the first time you got to see the Acadians in their own list. The 13th Company, the Space Wolves, was in it. It's the first time you got Wolfen. They had a Lost in the Damned army there, which is just filled with Traitor Marines, Giant Mutants, Traitor Guard, and then you had an Oathway army. And it got pretty bad. They never actually blew up Cadia, but they got pretty damn close. That was a good book too.
You're a good book.
Yeah, but I was surprised when I read the new one. I'm like, oh, they actually literally blew it up. It is gone now. I felt kind of bad for guard players. But hey, what you gonna do? There's still Cadians out there. They're still doing their thing.
Doing a do.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Soak it up and you keep going, man.
The chat agrees with you that it was a great book.
Yeah. No, there was lots of really cool scenes in those books. The second one had a really awesome one with what's his name there? Araman. Yeah, that was there. Araman and his 1,000 Sons. That was a pretty cool scene. There's a really nice scene where they're actually taking on the Yvrain or Ynnari, whatever they're called, and she literally just swishes her hand, and a whole bunch of his battle brothers go from being dust-filled automatons to actually being alive again. And he's stunned, and they're stunned, and then she literally opens the floor on them and they fall to their doom, and he chases after them on his little disc of sorcery.
Disc of
And
sorcery.
of course, pardon me?
Disc of sorcery.
Yeah, he's on a disc now. He's got one of those Zinchian disc things. He's leveled up.
I want one.
Yeah, make getting work easier.
Well, listen, guys, we are approaching already close to the hour. Just curious, Steve, what is happening? What's going on with your channel, my man? What's coming up? What you got cooking?
Well, I gotta, like I said before, I gotta keep working on my Oathway Force. That's still a work in progress, and getting my Hobbits done. That's sort of the next thing when I have time. When things sort of settle down and I can get back to it. It's been pretty crazy. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know you've gone through a lot over there, but so glad to have you on the chat, man. We've been wanting to do this for a long time. I mean,
I'm glad to be here.
Before we call it a night, guys, so Steve, you're already getting your kind of wish with Calgar. Freak, who would you want to see made into Primaris? Would you feel good if they gave Lysander the Primaris conversion?
Of course. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't? What Imperial Fist wouldn't, I mean, you imagine,
Hey, some people are upset that they're upgrading some of their favorite HQs to Primaris.
Yeah. I guess.
They got to evolve. They just got to evolve.
Yeah.
That's what this game's all about. I can't tell you the number of times I've had to change tactics because my rules changed. You got to evolve or die. Evolve or die.
And that's part of the game, right? I mean, you have to accept change.
Absolutely.
That's sounding rather heretical there, Freak. That's kind of Zinchian right there. Should we be concerned? Should we be a little upset now? And some Inquisitors after you? Huh?
Yeah, my Inquisitor, who's my wife, I think she's knocking at my door already. So. Yeah.
Running Bear has hated the elves since the Rogue Trader days with his dwarf and space wolf armies. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I would not only love if my Logan Grimnar got the Primaris treatment, but as you guys know, I have been harping for a long freaking time that Ragnar Blackmane needs a new model. And
oh God, yes.
I would, because again, he looks like the world's most retarded barbarian. He looks like Moon. Okay, we don't need no freaking Moon.
He's got the second edition classic stance of a sword here, gun here. Like look at Mephisto, and he's the same way. A lot of the models, sword here or gun here, sword here. Just This is how they walked into battle. Just no.
So, if for nothing other than the fact that the man needs a new model, please. Primaris Ragnar Blackmane. And while we're at it, while we're making models, let's get Forge World to finally get on the ball and make me a freaking Brand Redmaw model because I need my dude back.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here's the salt. Here is the salty. Never wanted to see salty.
Yeah,
watch right now.
I'm gonna keep the salt down. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, that they said that. Okay, we're going to do something about Brand Redmaw, and then they gave us index rules for a Space Marine captain with nothing that makes Brand Redmaw. They said use a Space Marine captain, any space. And first, they could have at least said use a Wolf Lord stats. No, they did use a Space Wolf captain. I mean, a Space Marine captain for the stats, and give him a relic axe. And we're like, that's fine. But what makes Brand Redmaw is that he becomes a werewolf. Okay, guys. I would like a really impotent werewolf that can't be a werewolf. That's what I would like. Like, I'm not petitioning Forge World for that. No, I want a freaking Brand Redmaw. And if their issue is that they didn't get around to it because they don't make a model, then make a freaking model. We're just pouring them out of the woodwork. It seems like a pretty simple freaking solution. Guys, we don't have a model for that? Then make a damn model. Anyways, new models, Brand Redmaw.
I'm going to tell you right now, Mythos, that wasn't salty at all. There was no salt there. I'm just
no
salt. No salt. None. No.
But yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, one more salty thing. Leaked rumor that formations might be coming back. What you guys think?
They're not formations. They're going to be specialized. Well, they're formations without being formations. They're going to be specialized stratagems. Use command points to use them, and they give special. Apparently, they're going to be special characterful rules for each army that they belong to. That aren't supposed to be overpowered, but actually add some character to them. But they're not actually a formation. It's something you have to purchase with command points to use.
So stratagem-based formation. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I just want, if they're going to go back to formations, I want my death pack back so my cavalry can move, advance, and charge at the same go. That's what I want.
But you can kind of do that now. You can move, shoot, and charge now. That they'd have to tweak it a bit.
I just want to get across the table with my cavalry a little faster. But they're pretty awesome now. I really like the Codex has fixed the cavalry problem, so I'm happy. I'm not salty about the cavalry.
I'm still detecting a lot of salt right now.
No. I'm happy with cavalry.
You're salty.
I only bring it up because so there were some rumors that formations might be a thing again.
No, I think it's gonna be. They're gonna be certain things you're gonna see popping up in the books. Like apparently this new book is actually going to bring back City Fight as urban conquest. So it's a new version of City Fight as well.
That's cool. Running Bear's got a good point.
Some special command or special stratagems for that as well.
Running Bear's got a good point. As long as we're making a wish list, fix drop pods, please.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yep. Fixed drop pods. Here's the thing. The thing that sucks about it is that our old models or the classic models, they get drop pods to actually fly in on, right? To actually drop in. Primaris don't get that. I mean, what are we going to do with that? I mean, why? I guess they're gonna change that. They're gonna create different drop pods. I mean, we're not hearing anything coming from that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot of transport options in general for Primaris. Other than the Ultra Tank.
Yeah, and
the repulsor's got they got the repulsor that can transport.
Yep.
But what's going to cost you?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why I think there's that rumor that they're getting sort of a mid-range transport, like a Primaris Rhino, right? So it's going to be bigger than a Rhino. It'll be able to carry Primaris Marines around. So who knows? I mean,
but the thing is, the Primaris aren't that much bigger than a regular Space Marine.
Well, you got to take into consideration that the sizing of them is all wrong, right? It has been forever. If you take a Space Marine, a Standard Marine, and a Guardsman, they're the same height. The scale has never been 100% awesome, right? Like the Primaris are what Marines should have always been size-wise. You put them next to a Guardsman model, they tower over them now instead of being the exact same height, pretty much.
And, I mean, Primaris are just so much better. I can see where they would be broken if you could put them in drop pods. I mean, can you imagine somebody dropping 10 Hellblasters down in a drop pod? That would definitely eat somebody's lunch.
I love the armor. I mean, that's the armor.
Primaris armor looks gorgeous.
Yeah, Primaris armor is gorgeous. I love the way it just looks really good, Oh, man, especially on Reavers. That is just amazing,
Stealth power armor is awesome.
God, just gorgeous. But again, okay, give us some transport options. I don't want to have to spend 300, 400, or 500 points just to transport my troops down the lane, because then that's pretty much all I have.
Well, one of the other rumors right now is that there's going to be for Marines wide, there's going to be points drops everywhere.
I can see that, and that would make sense.
Great, especially for tactical Marines. It'd be great, especially for things like tactical Marines, because right now they can't really do anything that they used to be able to do very well anymore. So points dropping them might actually make them a bit more effective.
Right.
Like with their bolters losing any sort of AP, they can't hurt anybody anymore. They're more just delivery units for heavy weapons and special weapons now.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm kind of unpopular as a Space Wolf player in that I almost never take basic troop options, but I'm all about my cavalry and my Wolf Guard, and I tend to bring a Wolf Lord's host, just full of a Wolf Guard detachment. He's bringing his entourage around him.
So
Speaking of Wolfguard, Thomas says make some Primaris on Thundercav. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't
so
know if
many
the
space
wolves could handle it.
We'd have to beef up the wolf too.
Jackie, Primaris Wolves. There you go.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they're going to progress this season because, like I said, I mean, you're talking about GW coming up with new style transports and all that. So basically, you're going to be rendering the old transports worthless because people are going to be playing more.
But you don't have to play all Primaris. If you want to keep rolling your rhinos and your tacticals, you can do that.
Well, right, okay, yeah, that's going to work out really well when you're going against some of the Primaris.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Is like you can adapt and get new stuff, but that's the new shiny stuff. That's when you have new anything.
That's the evolution, right?
Right. You can.
It happen with all the other armies as well. They've always every edition, every army's got something new, something special, something different. Like look at the orcs, got all those fancy new vehicles. Those things are nasty. Someone takes an all vehicle list, you are in trouble. Those things, they hurt when they hit, they hurt when they shoot. All the special rules the boys got, that's a nasty list, man. Orcs are something to be feared. I'm hoping they can make Marines fearful again, but I was looking at that orc list, man. It is something else. And when Chaos gets their new thing, and speaking of new models, I hope to God they make a new Abaddon because he is the least scary model of all time now. He is so wee now. He's supposed to be like the biggest badass in the galaxy, and he is just so small, and you just want to pet him on the top of the head. Like the new Primaris Marines are like, "Hey, how's it going, Abaddon? It's gonna hit you on the top knot. It's cool." And he I can see them like holding his head as he's swinging violently, unable to hit them. Just right. And they're like, "Oh, keep him away." Oh, no. He needs a new model.
After reading the Horus Heresy books, I'm okay if somebody. After reading the Heresy books, I'm okay if there's some Primaris Marines bullying him like that.
Yeah, no, he needs to be bigger. He needs to get some sort of model upgrade of some sort to make him not so unscary. I mean,
all right.
When I was working at the store, especially the second time through, anytime someone wanted an Abaddon, they would order Abaddon up. They'd get the model in, and then when it came in, they'd come in and buy one of the new at that point, the plastic Chaos Lords. They'd take his head and his arms, throw them on the Chaos Lord, and throw the rest of the model away. Because the body was pretty much the exact same, but he was bigger. And they had that little base with that arrow of rock pointing out of it, right? And so he was actually big and scary and towering over his Terminator retinue instead of being the smallest guy in the squad.
You're in response to your Primaris Marines bullying Abaddon. Thomas says Primaris playing Hulk with Loki as Abaddon.
Pretty much. I like
Good
that.
God.
That's it at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Freak, my brother, I know you've tried to close out the show like 3 times already. I'm going to let you finish talking.
Yeah, no, man. I need to actually wrap it up. But so, Mythos, what's up next for you, my man?
Well, I want to get back to hitting the Tau commission when I get back in town. I want to build up some more of those MDF terrain pieces because I think they're going to make our table look banging. That's going to be pretty sweet. I'm still not sure how I want to paint them up yet. But even just building them, I think they're already an improvement to our table.
So too. I got to agree with you. I'm saying just let them say that they look really good as they stand.
Yeah, and I'm afraid if once we prime them and paint them, some of those laser cut details in them, we're going to lose some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I say just leave them like they are. I think they're gonna look amazing, especially once you've got the catwalks going on. You know.
So that'll be awesome. What are you going to be working on with uh, those tech priests?
Well, yeah, well the Tech Marines. I
Yeah,
think
tech marines.
yeah
Now I'm saying it.
before I start working on that, I wanna finish assembling my knight.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to at least throw some gray on it, throw some primer, and then that way I'll have it sitting there ready to go once I'm actually completed this commission. Because this week it's all about trying to wrap up this commission as much as I can, and if anything, I want to at least be finished with the aggressors and start with those Tech Marines, and I think he's got a couple lieutenants there too. So
I need to finish my knight too, man. I've got mine. It's been sitting at 90% finished for months now. I just need to finish the base really, and the couple of weapon options.
yeah, I mean, it's just my 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 stash of shame turned into my box of shame. Now I got a huge container with a lid full
I
of
bought a set of cabinets for my shame.
yeah.
I've got bits boxes of shame, dude. Like one's like 5 stories hot, or 5 stories, 5 feet tall. It just got bits in it and armies that I need to paint up. Lots of Marines for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I kind of want, if I have my way, I might take a break and paint up an Ultramarine at some point.
You better.
I'm just really inspired by the book.
Better.
Closet, not a closet of shame. No, the closet of shame is when I actually came out.
Oh my, hello.
Anyway, but yeah, man, that's pretty much what I got going on, man. So
Sweet.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this live chat. We just wanted to have a chill sit and chat, I did a little painting anyways, and just a good discussion between friends. So if you guys were here, part of the discussion, I appreciate you being on. And if you are watching this, watching it back in the archives, I appreciate your time watching it. If you guys like this episode, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below. Let us know what you thought. And, of course, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel or Who Took My Dice, Miniature Wargaming, then we would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist or over at Who Took My Dice, Miniature Wargaming. So until next time, guys.
See ya.
Stay frosty.
Frosty.